One other little project that we've been involved with related to national situations is related to the deficit and debt of the United States, which is approaching enormous sums. The federal deficit for 2010 is supposed to be $1.4 trillion, and our debt, 12.4. In fact, I believe there's some fear that by 2020, 2030, our debt will be our entire gross domestic product. Even right now, the U.S. federal debt is about $40,000 per person. Each of us has that amount of debt hanging over our heads. In comparison, in Canada, it's about $5,000 per person. Everyone from the president on down has been nervously squawking about this and debating ways to raise money and reduce expenditures, etc. Some of you may know that China is currently the largest foreign debt holder in the United States. It was displaced for a short period of time by someone else, the second, which I forget right now, but I think it's back to being number one. And there is a challenge. One way to solve all this is just to ask all the wealthy people in the United States and all the corporations to give away their money and help pay off this deficit and debt, but I can't imagine that happening in the near future. So I try to think of another way to raise some money. And I thought of one, which is a very simple solution called Vanity bucks. We just asked the U.S. Treasury Department to make a unilateral decision that it's okay to print the images of living or dead people on our currency, even non-citizens, and that it would be okay to print the logos of corporations and organizations. After all, I believe the U.S. Supreme Court just decided that corporations were just like people, if you've been reading the news. So why not have their logos appear as sort of personal entities? This is a graphic design solution to our U.S. deficit or debt. The only trick in the matter is that it will cost any individual or corporation $100 million per image. How many of you have $100 million in the bank or in your pocket right now? Probably not too many, but there are corporations and there are many wealthy individuals around the world who do have a spare $100 million, and that's not a big problem. A fellow named Richard Garriott spent $30 million for a 10-day space ride, courtesy of NASA. That was great fun for 10 days, and then it was over. I guess all he had was videos. Stephen Colbert, I don't know how many of you watch him daily or often. His nation is 1 million people, and if each of those people gave $100, which probably they could do and would do, he could rather quickly raise $100 million. So, if you could find 7,000 corporations or people around the world, and there are 400 billionaires in the United States alone, why, we would have wiped out 50% of the U.S. deficit rather quickly. Keep in mind that the images on our currency last only a certain length of time. The $1 bill is used up most quickly, 20 months, and there are 3 billion of them floating around the world. The $100 bills last 5 years because they don't get circulated that much. And there might be trade-offs in how much you would, or a very wealthy person or a corporation would have to pay, depending on how long it would be in circulation and what the value of the currency was. In general, the currency design would be unchanged because you wouldn't want to interfere with ATM machines and other devices that check for counterfeit currency. In addition, you might raise some extra money by having authorized signed copies of some of the currency. So here's the proposal, that we have people like President Obama and Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, among others, Stephen Colbert. Wouldn't Tom Cruise or Oprah be ready to pay for their image on our currency? It might allow the first African American ever to appear on our currency, the first woman, and the first foreigner. except for, of course, our original presidents who were, in some cases, foreigners. We might develop new names for our currency like Bama Bucks or Colbert Cash, or talk about things requiring you to pay 3 Putins and an Oprah to buy a new something or other. Wouldn't grandparents just love to see their grandchildren on our currency? A surprise wedding gift for a future spouse, perhaps, from some wealthy husband or wife-to-be? And how about the corporate logos? Can't you imagine that Microsoft, Apple, or Google, among others, would leap at the opportunity maybe to buy out a whole suite of currency like they buy out subway or BART trains for one particular company? Some of you might find this absolutely appalling, disgusting, inappropriate. Others of you may laugh and think, well, not a bad idea. We have proposed this. I've sent, actually, proposals to President Obama and Stephen Colbert, and so far I haven't heard any replies. I have written the U.S. Treasury Department about it. No reply yet. I did publish the idea originally in the San Jose Mercury News, and you can go to the AIGA website right now and find the complete essay and proposal for customized currency. At least the AIGA is somewhat behind it, in at least hosting an announcement of this. So that's my final bit of presentation about using visual communication to make changes. If you have questions about this project, I'd be happy to hear them.
Thank you.